So, not too long ago, I put out a video about how it was very likely that we were going to eventually hear from Bungie about a delay to the upcoming mid-season D2 expansion, Shadow and Order. I mentioned it was weird, though, that we hadn't heard anything yet because we are very close to March already. Well, it happened randomly the other day after weeks of zero communicado from Bungie, weeks of filler twids and silence. We finally got some news about the expansion and the short-term future of D2, not in a dev article, but in a tweet. And even though it was a random Wednesday evening, I decided to fire up my stream to read it with my community and share some thoughts. Tweet from the Destiny 2 account. Our next major update, Destiny 2 Shadow and Order, is undergoing large revisions and will be delayed. This update is being changed and expanded to include sizable quality of life updates, and as a result, will also be renamed. This update will now launch on June 9th, 2026. We will provide exact details closer to release, covering previously announced weapon tier upgrading, but also additions like expanding tiered gear to all raid and dungeon activities, Pantheon 2.0, tier 5 stats for exotic armor, and more. Through June, we will continue to have routine bug fixes and stability improvements, continued portal modifiers, Guardian games coming in March, and the return of more frequent Iron Banner cadence in April. In terms of communications, we will be focusing on providing you with updates about our live game content, community activations, and general upkeep through the Twid and our Destiny social channels. Thank you for your continued patience and support. We will have more information on our next major update and future plans for D2 closer to launch. See you Starside. Definitely a lot to go through. Here, let me read you what I retweeted with. This was my initial gut reaction. Oh wow, we heard something. This is a lot to take in. Essendo is undergoing large revisions and now officially delayed with a release date of June 9th, much longer than I think people were expecting. Mixture of emotions for sure. Pantheon 2 equals holy fuck, let's go, which I stand by. But man, 4 months is a long ways away. Destiny is sort of turned into a seasonal migration to me, like geese flying home when the weather is just right. Some players are gone for good, and while sad, I get it. Keeping my fingers crossed, but at this point, they are starting to get sore. I was kind of hoping that this would come in the form of like an article with maybe a bit more information. You know those big random Wednesday dev articles that they would like throw out of nowhere? I would have really appreciated one of those instead of a tweet. Don't get me wrong. I'm really glad that we got a tweet. I'm glad that we got a tweet instead of nothing, which, like, you know, lately we've been getting a whole lot of nothing. So I'm glad we got something. June 9th. June 9th is so far away. I think the initial timeline that people like Paul Tassi were talking about and the data mining people, all the data mining people were talking about maybe like May, something like that. June is a long ways away. There would be a point in time where you would think, you would bet money, if like future me came to past me and was like, hey, what if Bungie came out and was like Pantheon 2.0? I'd be like, oh dude, hell yeah, 2 thumbs way up. But it's mixed together like with pretty bad news. And then there's the thought that a lot of people are definitely thinking about, whether they say it or not. It's sort of like, how spread thin is Destiny going to continue to be with Marathon on the table? Now, I know they have 2 different teams, probably, I would assume, at Bungie. Like, one team working on Marathon, one team working on Destiny. So it's not like, you know, the employees have to divide their time between Destiny and Marathon. But it is also very possible that, you know, hardworking, talented devs were pulled off of the Destiny team to be put on Marathon, you know, leaving less resources for Destiny. You know, at least if I had to guess, I'm assuming that would be the case. Yeah, I mean, we might not be getting the next major expansion until November or like December, like depending on how far out it is. It's killer. You know, it might be for the best. It might be really fucking painful to think about now, like no new D2 content until June 9th. Like, woof, that's a long goddamn time. But I would rather the content be delayed and be good than come out early and be terrible, and then we have to wait like 8 months for something substantial. I would rather it come out fully baked. I know the meme is like things come out half baked. I really hope that Shadow and Order does not come out half baked. Like I really hope that they take this extra time to cook. Shattered Cycle was scheduled to release around 3 months after of Shadow and Order. Oh, was it? Interesting. Okay. All right. Maybe like September seems pretty optimistic. I was maybe October. From everybody's favorite Mactix G1. These changes sound nice and all, but at this point, I don't think this is enough to save the game and bring most players back. I mean, that's a completely, entirely separate can of worms, which I agree with. These are all things that people were begging for half a year ago, and had they been implemented then I think we would be in a different situation, for sure. But things are much more dire now than they were back then. Yeah. Player numbers have bled out too much, and it'll take way more than this to bring them back. I agree with that. Furthermore, to still hear nothing significant about the roadmap or the state of the game and the big picture plans for the franchise is so frustrating. Completely agree. I understand that these types of things probably take a lot of time, but the community has felt so led on for so long due to the lack of communication, expectation setting when it comes to estimated times of delivery on those items. Everyone has been under the impression that these things have been right around the corner week after week for the last 6 months, and it's just death by 1,000 cuts every single week that we hear nothing. That is true. To wait till June for anything noteworthy also feels like a borderline death sentence, considering player numbers are already rock bottom and will continue to fall with no significant updates or communications. Quick timeout. I am so curious. I just want to know what the current D2 player numbers are on Steam. 11,000. Not great. It feels like the game is going to enter a state of dormancy more than it already has, and things like Tier 5 exotic stats and game-wide gear tiering will not be enough to dig out of that. Well put. Well put, Mac. I agree with that. It's not that we don't want that. I mean, I definitely do want like Tier 5 exotic stuff. I want all the things that they're promising, but like, are these the big, like, hoist us out of the trenches move? I don't think so. I mean, no disrespect, just honest and genuine feedback. That's fair. But as a Destiny player, I'm hurting big time right now and expected way more and would have liked to see it communicated way sooner. Agree. And I know most of the community feels the same way. I do feel it important to make it as clear as possible, though, that I feel that the changes promised will not be enough. If this is all that is planned for the future and to save the current state of the game, please reconsider and find ways to do more. I understand that is a tall ask, but I feel it is necessary for the game to find its footing again. That is well put. I really appreciate that Mac took the time to kind of write all that out rather than just being like just something like, oh, game dead. I know people are going to be like, oh, cope. Like, because if I say like, I still have my fingers crossed for Destiny. Like, I mean, I'm hopeful for Destiny. I'm always hopeful for Destiny because I would rather be hopeful than doom and gloom. That doesn't do anything for me personally. I like the things that they're promising, but I think if it's going to turn the tide, so to speak, I agree with what Mac is saying. I think we need more. I am sure that many people will return for Pantheon 2.0, but I feel like the people who were going to return for Pantheon 2.0 were the people who were probably going to return anyway to Shadow and Order. I think they were going to return anyway. I think the real goal is to like really dig deep, and like the people who left, I don't know, a long time ago, like cool, interesting, big changes that are exciting. And because if you find someone who maybe left after, I don't know, Lightfall, if you find somebody who left after Lightfall because they were disappointed by Lightfall, and we've talked to people in the Twitch chat who have come in and they're like, hey, I haven't even played Final Shape. Is Final Shape good? And you're like, yeah, dude, Final Shape is like kind of sick. We need things to like bring people like that back. And if you explain to them that like, hey, they're adding, tiered gear to all raid and dungeon activities, they're gonna look at you and be like, what the fuck does that mean? Updating raid and dungeons to have tier 5 loot is probably pointless, as most people who LFG'd raids are largely gone. The community just isn't really there anymore, and I think we're just delaying the inevitable now. That's dark. I think we need to just face the music. I mean, as long as there's something in the game worth playing, I'm gonna play it. It's just like, I don't know what the idea of like, quote, facing the music is. Just being like, we all move away from the, like we all join hands and leap off the bridge together. Like, I'm going to play Shadow and Order because I want to play Pantheon 2. I really want to fucking play Pantheon 2 very badly. Who will be left raiding even after the old raids get updated? It's a good question. This is like a whole other conversation. We always go down this road. This is always where the conversation turns to, I dream of the 3. I always dream. I dream that I'm going to wake up and I'm just going to see a tweet from Bungie or something like that, and it's just going to be a picture of a 3. D3 with a real change to how we play the game. I can't commit to a grind again that feels like this, but fresh IDK, what that looks like, but that's why I'm not a dev. At least you have the insight to say, hey man, that's why I'm not a dev. But for me, I mean, like, my situation is obviously it's different. I'm a content creator. I don't mind the grind to a degree. I want D3 and I want it to have a grind. I feel like Destiny 3, if it were to exist, which I really hope it does one day, like, I would really want a satisfying grind. The MMO landscape is so dry right now, where the only big ones are large, long-standing powerhouses like WoW, FF, and Guild Wars. Bungie could do something spectacular going full MMO and lighting the industry on fire with a new gen MMO. I mean, yeah, anything that we're talking about in terms of like Bungie doing something new and exciting would be years out at this point. And don't get me wrong, I would be happy to dive into whatever that might be, but it's going to take a long time. What is my D3 wish list? That's a hard question. That's a really hard question to answer. I'm actually not sure to what degree I can even answer that question. I mean, like, I can only speak in the broadest terms because I don't want to be like, I want a story where this exactly happens, right? Like, I just want there to be a compelling story with a compelling hook. I want people to be hungry to launch the game and have fun and grind whatever that looks like. Whatever that fucking looks like, I want people to be excited to log on and play the game, whether that be for PvE or for PvP. I think I would not care if Bungie came out today and were like, hey, we're making D3, but the only way we're going to do it is if you agree to give up and lose everything you've ever worked for in D2. I would be like, done. I would sign that agreement. I would sign my name on the dotted line so fucking fast I would get carpal tunnel. Like, it would be instant signature. I know a lot of people would not agree with me. They would be clutching their pearls and be like, no, I unlocked all this stuff in D2. And it's like, yeah, true. And you can still have access to it in D2. But if there were a full-on reset for D3, I would not mind at all. At all. Wouldn't care. Everything I've ever launched, I've ever earned, just throw it into the sun. Don't care. I don't care if a theoretical Destiny 3 happened 1,000 years from now in the future and it was a completely new Guardian or something like that. Yeah, I don't care. Can we get PvP updates at least? It's probably not a good sign that my first reaction was to laugh at that, right? It's probably... I'm not even memeing right now. I'm not even memeing. I'm just like, it's not a good... It was not my intention to laugh at that. Just like, can we get some PvP updates? Like, dude, get in line. Like, I would love PvP updates. I would love PvP updates for sure. It's just such a shame, dude. It's such a shame. Somebody mentioned that during the PvE downtime, you know what I mean? Because like content comes out, like Renegades, for example, the content comes out, you play the story, you do the missions, you do the dungeon, you get all the gear, you do all the PvE stuff. And then when you're done with the PvE stuff, it's sort of like, well, what keeps you busy and engaged in the meantime? And for me, that is PvP. Or at least historically, that has been PvP. And just lately, that's just not it. Like, PvP is kind of... It just feels weird right now. It's just not getting the love and attention that it needs. I played it, and it's just like the balance all seems kind of out of whack. PvP should be one of the things that, like, the backbone during the downtime, right? That should be what kind of holds... Not everybody, because there's some people out there who just don't like PvP, and that's fine. But like the people out there who do enjoy PvP, like that backbone really should be there to keep the player base engaged, interested, you know, during the PvE downtime. And sheesh, just we have not been getting that at all. It's just every now and then it's like, hey, there's a new gun. And it's like, well, cool, but is it meta? Is it like a new, is it a groundbreakingly new gun? Or is it just kind of like, oh, it's like, oh, it's another hand cannon that we already have a couple rolls very similar to, or I don't know, something like that. Anyway, you can check the VOD on Twitch if you want to hear more, but the TLDR is Shadow and Order in June, and man, I really hope it cooks. But in the meantime, Arc Raiders, Marathon, and who knows what else from yours truly. Thank you for your support. Thank you for watching. Mad love. I'll see you next time.